now that we are less than a week away from the release of The Marvels, we are seeing the news reports coming out from various aspects or various parts of the press talking about how the box office doesn't look good. It looks like this movie is going to flop, and it doesn't seem that the Access Media has any problem admitting it now, which they would have.
It's so bad that they have to just come to terms with it. The jig is up for Marvel. So this Deadline report said that it would not be shocking if we see the Marvels charting one of the lowest openings for a Marvel Studios movie next weekend, with less than 70 million, lower than the Eternals. The movie, not only a sequel to Captain Marvel, but also a crossover from a Disney Plus series, Miss Marvel and WandaVision.
Which
pre-sales for the Marvels, get this, are pacing behind that of Black Adam and The Flash.
And if you don't remember, guys, those movies, they didn't do very well.
So
at the box
DC is
office.
no longer the underdog.
Yep.
They're both in the crapper now.
Well, in this Digital Trends article, they point out that superhero fatigue was a convenient excuse used for DC films.
I'm sure for the
back in
next
day.
year, the SAG strike and the WGA strike are also going to be convenient excuses, but no amount of promotion could gain back the goodwill with fans that they lost in the meantime. And this says, none of the movie's many trailers, clips, or sneak peeks have convinced a disinterested audience that it has anything new to offer other than the usual CGI fight sequences, pointless Easter eggs, which you know I hate, that endlessly tease a new future project, or corny one-liners that are a dime a dozen.
And I was thinking about something. First of all, I like it when I decided to just challenge myself when I started reading this article. I started just listing all of the reasons why a movie like this might not succeed. But a better comparison came to my mind before I get to those was, remember when we watched the trailer for Argylle? And we had a positive reaction to it. And what did you like more than anything in that trailer?
The cat.
The cat. Okay.
Okay, I admit it.
Nobody
It
watching.
was the CGI cat.
Nobody watching this trailer cares about the cat in the Marvels. It's not cute. It's not funny. It's not fun.
There was a cat in the Marvels trailer that I forgot about.
And nobody cares because there's no goodwill. There's at least the goodwill of the unknown with Argylle having a fun trailer that's cut up that at least feels like a Matthew Vaughn film, right?
Look, a lot of this has to do with the fact that the chicks aren't hot. The
I mean,
women are not va-va
I
boom.
think
Brie Larson's
is
cute,
attractive,
obviously, but I mean,
yeah.
it's not. They're not va-va-voom.
And here's the thing. Somebody in the chat says cat ladies care. Yes, but the thing is cat ladies aren't going to see this movie. One of the comparisons they make, I found this article later, and it says, this is really funny. It says, can the Marvels continue the female-led box office momentum of Barbie and Taylor Swift? No! Because it's not the same thing. Barbie is a movie made by a woman, marketed to women, for women, based on a character and a toy that was always designed to be for girls, and girls grow up to be women. Superhero movies were designed to be watched and read by boys. I don't care what you say, it always was.
And comic book fans, which happen to be boys.
And there's plenty. I'm not saying that there aren't women that don't love comic book movies and that don't read comics. There are plenty. I know some of them. That's not what I'm saying. I'm saying that audience demographics are a thing.
Yeah.
Whether you like it or not, the audiences usually skew male, and nothing that this movie has done or made in its promotional material leads you to courting your main target demographic audience. The other reasons that they give, it's like, first of all, there's no genuine interest. Also, it's the pandering to non-fans. That's what I mean by the cat and all of that stuff. And here's the other thing. We are now past the level of the A and B list heroes. We're into the C and D and E list heroes now. The average person, whether you like it or not, doesn't care or know who Monica Rambeau is, doesn't know the history of Captain Marvel, doesn't know the history of Miss Marvel.
Didn't watch the Disney Plus shows, which stank.
Yes. So,
and maybe didn't even watch Captain Marvel.
So the reason why comic book movies sold back in the day, now I use like network television shows as like a barometer for this, meaning that if they make like a joke about a comic book character in a show that's in just a regular TV show, whether it's a police procedural or a comedy, they're using the characters you've heard of before. I was watching an old episode of The Mentalist where Patrick Jane gets pulled over and he's on his way to a crime scene and he goes, aren't we all part of the Justice League? Would Batman give Aquaman a ticket? Even that was like Aquaman being referenced in a 2010 TV
That's
show
even a little
was
out there.
still a little bit out there for a normie, for an average audience viewer. You're not holding on to them. You have none of the goodwill from your past successes because you've released 37,000 Disney Plus shows that nobody cares about. You sandwiched Captain Marvel in between the two Avengers movies, pretending as if you needed to see that movie to understand what was going to happen in Endgame. That proved to be false. So that was bullshit. You have none of the goodwill. You have none of the direction. It's literally just a meandering feeling of nothingness now, and you wonder why the interest is so low. It's really funny because somebody was talking to me about this recently, because I was talking with someone about one of the problems that I have when doing this show is my brain is scattershot and ridiculous, and it very often takes turns left, right, doesn't make a whole ton of sense. Problem is, my mouth tries to catch up with it, and then I lose my train of thought, and I go off on some tangent, and I never make it back to this point. I notice this the most when we're like editing clips for social media. I'm like, wow, Brett, sure would have been great if you'd finished that thought you were making right there. The problem is that my brain is scattershot and disconnected and disoriented, and that's how Marvel feels right now. It doesn't feel like it's well put together with a lot of forethought. It feels like it's going the DC route, which is running around like a chicken with its head cut off. All of that comes together to make something that is far from appetizing to average viewers who have to pay $8 gazillion to go see your movie with mediocre popcorn and a drink.
Yeah.
It doesn't make any sense. And they're bringing back Nick Fury. So he was in all the shows too. Like, I love Samuel L. Jackson, but that's not the draw that it used to be. None of this stuff is.
Well, look who's on the poster. He's not on the movie poster. You're selling this with Brie Larson in the center.
And then there was also the did you see the thing from Breitbart where they're preemptively making excuses?
We love John Nolte. He writes, the Disney grooming syndicate's latest Marvel entry, The Marvels, smells like it's about to flop hard next week. And the eunuchs in the entertainment media are already inventing excuses to explain it away. And those are like, oh, the stars aren't going to be able to promote it at Comic-Cons. Like, stop. There's no saving this.
Yep.
It's been over. I mean, the last movie that they put out was Ant-Man Quantumania. You didn't see it. I went and saw it because I'm insane. And it was painful to watch.
and here's the thing, they're like talking in the comments section right now. They're talking about the various TV shows. You're never going to get the... If you were to ask me, the only one that I liked of the ones that I saw, I liked Hawkeye. It was fine. That was at the end of 2021. We're coming up on almost a full year from them now.
Well, okay. I saw this interview with Nia DaCosta, the director of The Marvels, who made a big deal out of how she is a diverse, minority directing a Marvel movie, which makes her somehow earn points. I definitely wanted the people to be inside of their experience. I want it to be very subjective. So I want it to feel as jarring for the audience as it is for them. We have Miss Marvel, the TV show, Captain Marvel, WandaVision, and it was a constant negotiation to figure out how much information do people need. It was a real trial and error. We don't want people to have to watch anything else. But of course, you also have to be honest. This is the 33rd project in this universe. It's sort of a sequel to 5 different things. So at a certain point, you just have to be like, yeah, there are some things we can't get in here, but it'll be fun.
Also, they're never gonna admit that established characters make them Guardians of the Galaxy did fine, but even Guardians of the Galaxy Volume 3 didn't get to $1 billion. It got to like $850 million. That was the last movie that they released where it felt like there was any of that old Marvel success, right? It's gone now. Ant-Man didn't do well.
Yeah, and
Thor did not do well.
I saw this opinion column in Variety called "What Comes After Marvel? Better hope it's not something worse."
Or are they referring to video games in that?
Yes, they are.
Yeah.
It said, if you want a preview of what movies could turn into after the age of Marvel, look no further than the monster success of Five Nights at Freddy's. That became as big as it did because it's based on a video game that's bigger than movies. Video game films have historically sputtered, but this year, the makers of Super Mario Bros. Movie got it right, and the makers of Five Nights at Freddy's did too, at least commercially. So basically, they're
And
saying
Sonic the year before.
yes, yeah.
And even Uncharted made a little bit of money, even though a lot of people didn't like the movie. I thought it was fine because anytime I get to see like a Mark Wahlberg adventure flick, even if it's not good, it was a fine night at the movies.
Video game based movies do better, it seems, than video game based shows, given The Last of Us.
I mean, I like Twisted Metal. I don't have any data on like what its numbers were, but I enjoyed the Twisted Metal TV show. But again, that's a game that at the time was basing it on the first game, which had like no lore, right? It's not. It is what it is. I
was worried they were gonna make a Life is Strange TV show after The Last of Us, because it's so perfect for diversity points. It's like, let's put these two 13-year-old lesbians in a show that's already written for us. With one has blue hair. It's awesome.
And I don't buy. And I'm sorry, I don't buy that. If the idea is that they're gonna bring back the old Avengers, I'll believe that when I actually see a picture of all of them on set filming some movie where they get back Scarlett Johansson, Robert Downey Jr., Chris Evans. First of all, the money truck you will have to back up to get those three actors back. Even Marvel doesn't have that money truck right now. Not with the way things are going. Like they said, it was $25 million up front for Robert Downey Jr. for Iron Man 3, and that was in like 2013. It ain't happening. And all of those people are going to take a percentage.
$20 one from Baron of Grey Matter. Agree with Mary on late night TV. Brett, how about a live action version of the movie Heavy Metal? Who would play? I can't read that.
Tarna. Interesting. I would have to. I don't think I ever saw it, so I'd have to look into it. But there are some things that I would like to see that I'm excited about. So, for instance, I've started watching Highlander. I never saw the Highlander show. Right? And I started watching the Highlander show because I was reading about this great bit of information about how Christopher Lambert got this insane upfront fee because like I guess like they turned down his initial offer, and then they that for like him he played the main character in the movie, and then he's supposed to come on the TV show and like pass the torch to the new main character, and like they backed out. They're like, we're not going to pay you that, and then the script got rewritten and they had to ask him like days before they were filming it, and so he jacked up the price to like way higher and got this insane fee out of them for that. I love that. Stick it to the studios. Stick it to the studios.
But not by striking.
Well, no, because that's the free market, right? They need him to sell the show.
Yeah.
Sell the show.
People striking.
And that show did end up
have
going.
A good track
and that show
record.
did go
Rachel
on.
Zegler.
Exactly. That show did go on to do like 4 or 5 seasons. But yeah, so I just don't see how bringing back the old characters. The bloom is off the rose. It's not the same now.
I agree, but like this person is saying that about Marvel, but they're saying that video game movies would end up in the same situation. I don't see that happening.
It is fair to say that The Last of Us did well numbers wise. It's just what we thought of the show doesn't really matter. It's whether people watched it or not.
That is if they're being honest about the numbers.
The sentiment
happens.
I saw online, I felt.
Thank you.
I felt that the sentiment.
How is Last of Us season 2 gonna go?
Are they gonna drag it out and keep Joel for another season? Yes.
If they wanted to keep Joel for the next season, wouldn't they have written it differently?
I have no idea. I mean, that assumes they're competent at their job. So I have no idea. But yeah, it's just
Last of Us was trash.
It's a downhill slope right now for Marvel, and I don't think bringing back the old stars is how you fix it. I think that it's. Have you ever? Here we go. Have you ever been in a relationship with someone? You have a strong relationship and it kind of slowly falls apart, or maybe it falls apart quickly and you break up, and then some time goes by and you're like, let's try it again. And then you go out and you date again. It's never the same second time around, ladies and gentlemen. It just isn't. It's not the way the world works. So I don't think going back for another round of dates with Robert Downey Jr. and Scarlett Johansson, as fun as that might be, will bring back the same level of panache that Marvel had before. I don't think they're going to manage to pull that off. Thanks for watching. Listen to full episodes of Pop Culture Crisis on Spotify.
Keep up with us on social media and make sure you subscribe and ring that bell so you never miss the show. Bye, guys.